Hi, Nalian. I was referred to you through Susan in rehab. I guess she had. My name is Alex. I guess she had mentioned that you were looking to speak to a social worker about a few things that you wanted to just discuss prior to going back to school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Yeah. Um, just before we get started into the conversation, I just wanted to talk a little bit about confidentiality. What we're going to be talking about here today is confidential, so between you and I, um, except for three specific scenarios. One is if I think that you're going to cause harm to yourself or someone or others, I might need to alert the appropriate authorities in that case. Another case that I might break confidentiality is if I think that I'm concerned that a child under the age of 16 is in danger or in some form of harm, going to receive harm. I'd have to alert again the appropriate authorities. Um, and the final way, which is kind of uncommon actually, but that our confidentiality might be broken, is if the court of law subpoenas our documentation. So I will be documenting a little bit of what we talked about today, and just for the records. But other than those three reasons, what we're going to talk about just moving forward is confidential. Do you have any questions about that?
Okay. Oh, no, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever spoken to a social worker before, or?
No, no, I haven't.
Okay, yeah. Um, just so you know, for the next little while, we could just talk about um, whatever is any sort of apprehensions or anything like that that you wanted to discuss. So I guess what made you want to get Susan to refer? Why did you get Susan to alert me to come visit you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I just finished my first year university, and during that time, I had this incident happen to me during the spring break. We were having a lot of fun, and then there was this like boating accident that happened, and as a result, like I injured myself and like broke my legs and had a lot of nerve damage in my legs and other parts of my body, and so ever since that really took a toll on me, and I had to do a lot of like recovery for that. So it was a really rough time, and so now, and even during the summer, I had to do a lot of surgeries and things like that, and I still have a lot of pain that I'm experiencing. But yeah, and I was I was a good student, and really had a lot going for me, and then this incident really made it hard for me. Yeah, so I just want to, I guess, talk about how to go from there.
Yeah, it sounds like last year's been a little bit rough for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, in terms of where you want to go from there, um, are you returning to school in the fall?
Yeah, so I am starting school soon, and so I'm really anxious about that because I've just been really like out of it with dealing with my injuries,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't seen my friends for a long time because I've just been in the hospital a lot and it's preoccupied a lot of my time. So I'm just worried what that's gonna be like. You know, just socially, I guess, anxious. I haven't heard from them for some time,
Okay.
and I'm worried about school as well. Like, I really want to do well, and I didn't do as well like towards the end of the last year because of this, and I'm just worried that it's gonna happen again.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing that you're a little bit concerned just with reconnecting with your friends, but
Mm-hmm.
also too, there's a bit of a concern around um, doing well in school. Can you tell me about what you mean by reconnecting with your friends? What causes you to feel like the connecting with your friends would be an issue?
Yeah, like during the summer, I hadn't seen them for a while. They didn't really come to visit me. Some of them did a little bit, but like most of the time, I was really alone. And my family was there a bit, but it's not the same when you want your friends. Summer is a time where you spend a lot of time with your friends, and I think they were doing their own thing, and I felt like not really in like the crowd, like not really um, in the social setting, I guess. So I was just haven't been in touch with them for a while. So I feel like I'm wondering, like, are we still friends, or are they still want to be with hang out with me, kind of thing. Um,
So I'm hearing that there was the disconnection was coming from the fact that you were um, alone in the hospital. Is that the main
yeah.
reason why that you haven't been in touch with your friends?
Yeah, like I haven't been able to reach out. Like I guess in being in the hospital, they have to do more of the work to reach out, and it seems like they're really busy doing their own things. So I haven't just been in the loop with them. I don't know what's going on, and so I'm wondering if like they've moved on, or that kind of a thing.
So um, so tell me, when it comes to with your friends, is what sort of what sort of what do you get out of associating with your friends in terms of support, or what does that relationship look like? What do you guys what's the nature of your relationship with your friends?
Yeah, I think with my friends, like we often hang out like every weekend. Like we hang out in the same spot. Like people usually like come over to my house and we hang out in the basement a lot, and that's kind of been like the thing that we did
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. And now that with this injury, like I've just been really preoccupied and not being able to hang out with them because of my pain. And then, especially in the summer when I had a lot of surgeries, like but often we hang out a lot. So it's nice to have them around, and I really like hanging out with my friends, and it's a lot of fun. So it's something that I enjoy and look forward to, and I guess now I'm missing that.
Okay. And so um, in terms of what you're looking forward to that brings you happiness, um,
Mm-hmm.
so it sounds like in the past something that brought you happiness or joy would be hanging out with your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you foresee what else do you foresee bringing you a similar feeling, say joy or happiness when it comes to school? Is there anything
Mm-hmm.
you have in mind?
School. I mean, I'm a little, school is something I'm anxious about now because I used to be like a straight A student, and it's something that I was like really proud of before, and I never had any concerns with. Some people are really like anxious about school before, but like I wasn't. I was always very confident. So I guess I had a path for me. Like I knew, like that I was gonna do well in school, and it's something that like I knew that I always excelled in.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that made me feel confident.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And so it sounds like, so what I'm hearing is that when you're hanging out with your friends, that made you feel. Is that also a source of confidence from you? Do you feel a source of confidence when you're hanging out with your friends? How did that make you
hmm.
feel?
Yeah, I guess you can say that I did. Yeah, I like feel like people want to be with me and hang out with me,
Sure.
and that I made it, entertaining, or made it
Mm-hmm.
fun for them, and so that definitely builds my self-esteem. Yeah.
Okay. And so just bringing it back to your friends then, it sounds like in terms of the confidence that you feel going into this school year, something that in the past maybe might have helped you is um, being around your friends.
Hmm.
Is that true? Is that the case?
Yeah, yeah. I think I feel like you're right. Like being around them, it just makes me feel like it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
More, yeah.
And so, have you going into school? I mean, it sounds like some of that confidence that you had from school, doing well in school, is that still there?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. Like, I'm afraid to know almost. Like, I didn't do so well like last year towards the end of the year because just this physical thing I was dealing with was impacting my concentration, and
Mm.
simple things that I could do before I can't do, like assignments or tests. Like, my memory was, so strong, but now I'm like distracted and I can't focus. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is permanent or is this, my new reality, or so I'm not sure yet. Like, I don't know how much has changed since then, but I'm very like fearful to find out, I guess, if that's still the case.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah.
And so it kind of sounds like the anxiousness is associated with a lack of confidence. Is that the case?
Yeah.
And so in the past, some of the confidence, just to summarize, some of the confidence has been coming from your friends, and also too you felt confident because prior to the accident you were fairly you'd always been doing well in school. Um, can you tell me, is there anything else in your life that you know provides you that sort of security or confidence when it comes to just everyday life?
hmm um any I don't, I guess right now I'm a little more like unsure about things, so there's a lot of ambiguity. I guess my family, they've been really supportive and helpful, so it's nice to know that I could rely on them
Mm-hmm.
if something happened to me, and that was really good to see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, I'm trying to think in terms of confidence. Um, I've had a lot of support, and my family's like, sent me to the best treatments. So um, I feel I feel confident that I'm gonna recover from this physically. So, because my body's been pretty good with responding to treatment, I've gone through a lot of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, having that really healthy body and focusing on that, like, that's one thing that I'm confident with. Yeah.
So, yeah, so I mean, it sounds like you've overcome a lot in the last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, yeah.
And so, when it comes to approaching the school year, it sounds like you might need to overcome, um, use those coping skills again, right? Like to overcome, like you have in the past, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I guess I have a lot of just anxiety about how that's gonna play out
Sure.
in school and in class.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about what might have been some in your rehabilitation that you had mentioned that you'd done over the summer? Can you tell me about what were some things that were particularly helpful or valuable when it came to um, coping with the rehabilitation process?
hmm well, initially it was really tough. I was in a lot of pain. And it was a long time that I was in a lot of pain, and then I thought like I wouldn't be able to. I thought this was like that I wouldn't be able to walk, for example, because a lot of the nerve damage in my legs were really severe, and so that was the tough part, like mentally, to sort of, is this going to be me, being such an athletic person before, and I had some dark periods there, and then I thought, like, there are hard, like, I know of other people who have worked and made it so that they recovered well. So that came to my mind, and one day I was just like really driven, and I pushed myself to do the exercises, and I was, happy to find out that like that led me to progress my recovery, and it's
Mm.
just that I guess, shift in mindset
Mm-hmm.
that time really helped me realize, like, what you're experiencing necessarily, what right now is not necessarily what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that, like, talking to myself about it really helped get there.
Mm-hmm. And it kind of sounded like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like you were inspired by perhaps tales of other people who have overcome this sort of thing before, right?
Yeah, yeah, especially this one person comes to mind where, like, my coach in my basketball team, he had a similar or worse injury actually, and he was telling us that, like, he overcame, you know, he didn't, like, he was in the hospital for a long time, and the doctors were saying he's not going to walk or he's going to limp, or, and it was very deep. Like, they were saying that it's not going to, it doesn't look good. And, you know, he said that, like, having that change in mindset really helped him recover because he pushed himself.
Mm.
And he said it was a slow recovery, but eventually he recovered, and now he walks well, and he's able to do, exercises. and
Mm-hmm.
and I remember that story he told me, and that, yeah, really stayed with me, I guess. And it came back to me that day when I was um, just really down. And then yeah, that story, yeah, you're right, kind of
Mm.
helped me.
So it sounds like hearing from others really there's a real effect on
Mm.
positive effect
Yeah.
on your ability to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wonder, have you been in contact with accessibility services for your university?
Yeah, yeah, they helped me, like, last year, especially with, like, I got, like, some modifications to my assignments and
Okay.
tests like that. And this year I have some too. It's just, yeah, like, I kind of want to know how I'm gonna do without it to see where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's yeah, it's not a good feeling to have to accommodate, because you have to do the tests separately, or your tests are not the same. And yeah, I guess it makes it more, like, visible to people that I'm, unique in some way or special, that something's different going on with me. So I'm a little, yeah, not the happiest with that, I guess.
Talk to me more about that. What about the being as you said special or
Mm.
um, what what about that makes you feel as though not the best, as you said?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be insulting or anything, and everyone has their needs. And but I always, I guess, prided myself in just being that school was, like, easy,
Mm,
for me. And it's something that I thought was gonna stay with me. And now, like, having to rely on all these other things, to, like, get me
mm-hmm,
just basic level is I guess it's not the greatest feeling. And yeah, just, I guess my I guess it relates to my confidence about school. Like, you know, it reminds me, like, it's not there as much because
mm,
I need all these services, and
mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm cheating the system, and having these services. And
Sure, right. I mean, I wouldn't say that you're cheating the system because that's what it's there for.
mm,
But I'm noticing a bit of a parallel between, you know, you had mentioned that being inspired by others and supported by others, like your basketball coach, helped you overcome the the rehab process in the summer.
mm-hmm,
Um, and it sounds like that was an effective, relatively effective
mm-hmm,
rehab process. Um, I'm wondering if there's an ability to, you know, view accessibility services not as something that's, um, you know, uh, like you're relying on it in the negative sense, but it's a way that you can use an external thing, like how you used your coach, to help you overcome, like how you overcome with the rehab. You can use accessibility services to help you overcome this school year. I'm wondering if there's a parallel that can be drawn there in terms of reframing how you think about accessibility services. Um, you know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's actually never made that connection that they can be similar in that way. I guess. Um, yeah, I guess because when you have a physical injury, you think that's physical, but school is like a mental thing, you know, and then
Right.
you just don't make that connection, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
that's, yeah.
Because I guess um, you gain confidence. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you gain some confidence throughout your ability to overcome over the summer with the rehab, right? I'm wondering if some of that confidence, like how you used the coach to help with the confidence in rehab, you could use accessibility services not as a crutch, but as a boost to your confidence, to provide you support um, that you can overcome the school year just as you have with your rehab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I never thought of that, yeah.
Okay, um, and with that in mind as well, like we so far we've kind of talked about, you've overcome a lot in the rehab over the summer physically, and it sounds like you have potentially a tool to overcome the school year, and develop some more confidence, but that might come from a bit of reframing how you view accessibility services more as like an inspiration and support
Mm-hmm.
rather than something that is um, a crutch or something that maybe you feel self-conscious about.
Yeah, I think I need to, yeah, shift that a bit.
And I wonder how um,